everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Dad. It is Francis and Nate here on a beautiful February where we got a big snowstorm, but finally St. Louis is melting out, so we're doing okay, I think. Nate, I had a glass of wine for the first time yesterday in like 15 years, and that was a big mistake for me. One glass of wine, managed to give myself a hangover with that, so we'll not be doing that experiment ever again. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I haven't had any alcohol in a while, but I was still hungover because I'm tired. It's nothing serious. I don't know, weirdly, like haven't been able to fall asleep until a little bit later, despite like not really drinking that much caffeine. So, and certainly not drinking caffeine later in the day. So, but I'm okay. It was kind of warm yesterday. It was probably in like the mid 50s, which for February is pretty nice. So you get this odd hint that maybe, also it was sunny. It's like maybe spring will be here not too long from now. I know that elsewhere in Europe, it's really cold right now. Mm-hmm. Joe was telling me that it's like well below freezing there. And my buddy Ari was telling me that in Berlin, it was like in the low 20s Fahrenheit with like a wind chill that felt like the low teens. Ooh. And it's like, yeah, that sucks. That's awful. So yeah, he's like, it's cold indoors even. Like it's just bad. So I'm doing okay.
Yeah, we had the snow, and then we had a good week where it was hovering in the single digits Fahrenheit. And I about lived at the Giants hot tub at the YMCA because I would just go the big people soup thing that we got there. But it was like the only thing that could put any kind of warmth back in my bones because it was just constantly cold. Like when you hit a certain cold, it doesn't matter how well insulated your house is. You're just fucked. You're just going to be cold and you just got to get through it. And I think we did. It is currently, for our US listeners, 25 degrees. For you, everybody else, that's probably what, like -3, -4 centigrade. So
yeah, about -4, -5, I think.
So it's not bad. I'm not angry anymore.
That's pretty cold for Europe, to be honest with you, or at least Western Europe, but like not Scandinavia, not Eastern Europe, but like I think, yeah, your Western part of Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Benelux, France, Britain, that's pretty cold. But obviously Midwest, we're used to. I mean, I was used to it, but I don't live in the Midwest anymore. I haven't lived in America in so long that you definitely feel it, but I don't know. It's fine. I mean, like we're at the point now where like, it's just weather chat, huh? But like
it always is. I'm sorry. I've been so busy. I didn't come with any like topics. So just like,
I actually have a topic that I find kind of funny.
That'd be nice, man. It's been a week. What you got?
Yeah. You said you traveled. I mean, for me, I have to travel next week to go to mix this album, which I'm really excited about, but it's interesting. My topic is, as I'm getting older, I find that while I still have the poster's instinct, I actually have kind of dipped my toe into browsing and to some extent commenting on Reddit. I'm not prolific at all, but it's weird because like I always waved off Reddit entirely other than like Google search results. But it's weird. I have actually seen some really insanely funny things on there, mostly unintentionally funny, but also I think there's a weird kind of specificity of certain things. And also in some cases in music discussion things, like, I don't know, it's actually been kind of interesting to just browse, chat with people, and then anytime anyone makes a recommendation, just pull it up immediately and listen and see if I connect with it. Because I realized like I saw something on there when I was checking for some info about like using one of the synth modules I've got, and it was like, you like music, so here's like some music thing, and it's probably for like teens and college students age music fans. But they're like top 25 records of 2025. And I didn't know a single one. Not only did I not know the records, I did not know a single band. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily that it matters, but it's like, well, I by happenstance.
Yeah, you're a music guy. You should know what, not know, but it's
presumably
good.
Like if we're going to get out there, like if we actually are going and going to play shows, like I'm going to encounter bands while I'm out there and talk about music more and hopefully have a chance to hear more. But yeah, when we were recording, like, our producer was sharing stuff and playing stuff for us a lot, like hanging out at the house. And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that like from 20 years ago, I didn't know about, and certainly now. So I figured why not? And it's been cool. I mean, but what's interesting to me is that you can't really be the kind of poster that you'd be on Twitter or on Blue Sky on Reddit, because if you are kind of trolling in the inappropriate form, you just get downvoted. And it's just like, it lends itself to a different kind of thing. And in some ways it's quite annoying because people just be like, let me Google that for you. Oh, first post kind of shit. It's like, man, fuck off. I was on the awful forums when your ass was like -4 years old. Shut up. But people were doing the same dumb bullshit, like first post and fucking thread, whatever, like forums gold and whatever. But I will say though, it's interesting because like I'm finding that responding with like enthusiasm and detail to stuff, people respond back, and have had some interesting conversations about music, about making music. And in general, it's strange because like, yeah, God forbid, the last thing you want to be is a Redditor. And yet, I don't know. I've seen some stuff that's made me laugh. And it's one of those things where I'm not like, you know what, my new passion in life is being on another social media platform. It's more that like for decades, I had seen Reddit as like, ugh. Mm-hmm. And that's like, well, actually there's like some pretty decent stuff on there if you know where to go looking. And I don't know, like there's a certain kind of affect you have to have in terms of like not like if you're going to be mean and funny, it has to be mean and funny in a different way. Like I did have one post that did pretty well because someone had posted about the Muppets having, when Dr. Teeth was performing, he had like a Prophet 5, like a Sequential Circuits Prophet 5 synthesizer in the background, which is a very nice old analog synthesizer, and also like quite expensive at the time. And the person was just like, the fuck kind of budget were the Muppets working with here? You know what I mean? And my response was like, well, few people know this, but Dr. Teeth actually played the ARP Selena on David Bowie's Heroes. And like that actually did really well. And so I was thinking to myself, I was like, this is different. This is different. I wrote this off for a long time, but actually, like, I mean, I've always used Reddit like to find very particular things because with the kind of like, death drive of Google, it's impossible to find useful information on search engine stuff. And weirdly, Reddit can actually give you that. And so I don't know, but it's been interesting because another thing I've noticed too with Reddit is there are way more younger people on it than on things like Blue Sky, for example. Now, I mean, I'm not going specifically into like, it's not like youth oriented stuff, but I've just noticed with music things that like a lot of the things and people commenting on music are like the same age as I was when I was mega into like being a head, like being a music head at the time, like late teens, early 20s. And it's just sort of like, it's not that I'm like shocked by this. It makes sense. But I was like, the only social media platform I've had since like, Twitter became like, Nazi.com was, or has been Blue Sky. And like everyone on Blue Sky is 45 years old. Like,
I know.
It's so different.
It's nice to like, okay, it's cool to hang out with people that are your age, but, and let me give you my background with Reddit because I was a Redditor long time ago, back in the early.
This one's calling me a Redditor.
Yeah. So, and I had to delete my account. I was hooked. Like this was before Twitter. This is before I was spending time on a lot of other social medias, and I couldn't tell you what I was doing. Like I have no idea what hooked me because I'm on Reddit now, and I've done a much better curation of my feed. Like last time when I talked to Jack and he told me that he does not have a login and he just raw dogs Reddit, I was like, that's insanity. You can't do that. That's gonna make
a lot of people do that.
I know. That's why
most accounts on there are like like the like throwaway like name generator accounts. Like basically no one has avatars. Like it's not like a normal forum. It's weird.
I know, but that's the thing. Like the Reddit experience when you get there, like I'm going to check out reddit.com for the first time in my entire life, and you go there and you're just going to have a lot of like weird screaming politics at you. But if you are somebody who understands that like Reddit is a place where it's just a place where a bunch of forums, like small forums exist and you can find all of these, because I follow I log in and I'm seeing St. Louis stuff because I follow the St. Louis subreddit. I see people who are building sheds because I follow our shedditor. I follow, everybody's showing their sheds. I got a pod shack. I was like, holy shit, you guys build sheds. Awesome. And
I'm just thinking of an alternate title for a Wu-Tang song called Shed It On Them.
Shed It On, man. I follow, there's a book series I like called Dungeon Crawler Carl that I follow.
Cynthia likes that too.
Yeah, so there are so many. Cynthia likes that. She and I are going to talk then. I'll bring her on the show. She and I will talk DCC. But there's so many like these small areas, and like you're talking about too with the music. Like there are people who want to find a music forum, but like a forum itself does not really exist, and it's hard to find. Say you want to start a music forum. How do you get people onto it? How do you do all of these things? How do you entice people into your, natesmusicforum.com or whatever? Reddit already exists for that. So you can just kind of build something up. And so I've really enjoyed, like, I'm not back on Reddit like I used to be, and I don't really post there. Like I will comment sometimes in the St. Louis subreddit, or if somebody asking for advice and I have it. And that's kind of the same way that I, operate on Blue Sky as well. But I have a real fear of ever posting I will reply, I will post comments, but like an actual post to Reddit scares the shit out of me. And I don't know why. Because like it feels like a Blue Sky post is very disposable. Like I thought, I'm the troop with the scoop that I got to poop. Post. Done. Never think about it again.
Like I said the other day, there was a guy outside my apartment who's wearing a purple hoodie with a black puffer coat zipped up and acid wash jeans and is unintentionally recreating the cover of the first Crystal Castles album. And he actually looks hard as fuck, and he's got a dog that looks like it kills people. And I know this is completely unintentional. He's not stealing his look. And yet, like, what do you do when also famously the guy from Crystal Castles turned out to be like a horrible sex creep? So bad. But it's like you look outside the window on a Saturday morning and the Crystal Castles album cover is happening. And also, like, because I was looking from above, his head was down. It literally looked just like the cover. And that to me, I'm like, that's fully throw that away. That's a Blue Sky post. Folks out there on Blue Sky are old enough. They're old like me. They'll remember an album from 2006. I think it was 5, 6, something like that. You know what I mean? Whereas you post that like anywhere else and you post it on Facebook and like, my distant relatives will be like, what?
But you could post it on, the r/album covers 2006 and you'd fucking go bonkers there. Because there's always going to be, there's always going to be a niche for that.
There's also something I have to say too, is that the forums that don't require a certain number of comment karma have some of the closest things I've gotten to what I would describe as early 2000s best of Craigslist insane posts. Like they are better than any shit post because they're seemingly unintentional. Now maybe some of them are parodies, but they're quite dry parodies. And I'm gonna have to give, I don't think I ever do like not trigger warnings on here, but like what I'm about to read is very obviously like a comment about somebody talking about sex. So just bear that in mind. Like if you're listening in the office, if you're listening when you work at like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I am gonna pull up this comment because this might be one of the funniest things that I've seen in a really long time. So a guy was talking about, he basically was needing advice because he's like, I need to know what kind of drugs I can take to get extra horny. And what he wrote, the headline was, drugs to get me horny and make me to a real slut. I used to consume 2 to 3 grams of cocaine and spend hours in a hotel room fucking my ass with sex toys. Last time was about 4 years ago. I recently discovered during a routine checkup that I have a congenital heart defect. My mitral valve doesn't close completely, but I have no symptoms. Now I would love to experience that feeling again, to get high for hours and stretch and fuck my ass. What alternatives are there to get high and horny like an animal? Like animal, not an animal. That to me.
Hey, that's English as a second language. This is a German man trying to find a way to fuck his ass harder.
It's quite precise, though. It's not. That's like one of the only grammatical errors in it. It's just so bizarre, and I'm just reminded of some of the posts, like the fake one about I took a diet pill in Mexico that basically put like a sandworm from Dune in my colon, but it made me lose weight. And now I need a guy with a caveman fetish to help me fight this thing out of my body, which has disappeared from the internet entirely. And I am cursed. I am burdened with the knowledge that I can't remember a lot of important things in my life, but I can remember almost verbatim the text of a post that appeared on Craigslist San Francisco in like November or December 2002. The headline was, "Can you help out an ex-fat girl? You get a prize in the end." And it describes this elaborate story about Latinia, the pill you take, and it made her lose weight. But then she realizes she had something alive inside her, and she took anti-worm pills, and then she wound up shitting out this huge worm. But then, as the phrase, the text of the post went, like a boxer shaking off a hard hit and emerging from a torpor, this thing snapped back to life, sprung to life, and slapped up my ass like well-sauced spaghetti. It goes on and on like this. I've talked about this elsewhere, I think. And that is an era of internet ephemera that is completely gone. Like there is best of Craigslist still, but that post didn't make it. I saw it as a screenshot on the Awful forums in like December 2002. I was a senior in high school. And I suppose maybe if I had a Something Awful Forums archive account, if such a thing even still exists, I could go and find the post. But I have this feeling that back in those days, forums didn't do like image hosting on the forum. You had to do it externally. Mm-hmm. So that would have been a post that like included like a proto-imgur link. Like it would have been whatever. It would have been like wherever you could host images. Sometimes people literally hosted them like themselves. Like we did that. My brother built an image host server on like our home computer. So what it means is basically like it is completely lost forever unless someone happens to have seen it and saved it, which like they probably wouldn't know, because if they're like me and they've like cloned their external hard drives over the years, it's on like, it's somewhere forgotten in a folder of a thing of like computer from 2003 on this thing or on a burned CD somewhere no one knows. And yet I retain this knowledge in my mind. And it's not necessarily that related to Reddit, but I'm saying that that is one of the aspects of Reddit that I kind of enjoy, is that I periodically see some of the most unhinged shit, and it doesn't seem like it's being done to be a troll. I don't know though. And it reminds me of that experience of like you can weirdly get like a mega early days internet forums feeling from it.
I think one of the interesting aspects about Reddit is that I don't know how to really like, we have a podcast and we know other podcasters. And what do you do with a podcast? You advertise your podcast on, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. There's not really a way to do that on Reddit. It's not the same. So like the entire dynamic there of like why somebody is there, what they're doing there is completely different. And I know that there's a lot of AI bots, and I know that there's a lot of, that's just a fact of the internet right now. But Reddit is one of those last places where I think real normal people are, and they're normal people who are like me, who are just like, somebody's like, I need help building the shed, and I'm just like, here's about how I ran electrical to my shed. Here's how I, finished off the inside. I can show you pictures. Lots of people do that. But also it lends itself for, I need somebody with a caveman fetish to pull a tapeworm out of my ass. Like there's no other place that you can do both of those things, on the internet. You can do that at LinkedIn, you're going to do that on Blue Sky. Like you can do both of these things on one place. You can be an insane troll with a fantastic ability to write and get nothing out of it other than karma. Like all these little upvotes. That's what the people like over there, which gives you nothing. You don't, other than notoriety on the internet, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think promoting your own stuff is going to be particularly useful. And frankly, I wouldn't, no offense, but I wouldn't want to participate in the subreddits for the various shows. No. I mean, I know that Trash Future and Lions and Kill James Bond and Well, There's Your Problem have them. But I wouldn't, because like, I think there's something, like I don't go looking. I've never gone looking. There was one time when I was trying to find if my British company showed up in Google search results, because it only doesn't, I don't have a website, it just has fucking the registration. And I found a Lions subreddit post about like, anybody else find Nate annoying? And I was like, I screenshotted that. I'm like, yeah, I do. I find myself annoying. I find myself annoying as hell. Fuck you think? But that's one of the things where I just wouldn't go do. I think much like name searching on Twitter or any social media platform, if this project with me and Safine goes somewhere in the terms of like it, get the album getting picked up for distribution and all that stuff, and like if it winds up being a thing where like people are discussing it online, like it gets to that extent, probably not going to be on the music forums, or I'd definitely stay away from any of. I just wouldn't. It's not that I'm like I can't read this. It's just like I think it changes you, and I've been doing this long enough to know that like how often you're going to see feedback, and that like fan feedback, while often quite kind and often quite good intentioned, is almost entirely is so subjective that if you followed it, you would find yourself constantly contradicting the thing you were doing 5 minutes ago, because everyone has a different thing they want. It's kind of like the what was it? Mexicali soup. Was that the story? We read this book when I was a kid about Mexicali soup, and it's like every single member of the family has an ingredient of Mexicali soup they don't like, so they tell the mom to not put it in, and in the end they just have hot water. Like that kind of a story, a kid's story. Like everyone's got to, sometimes you got to deal with a thing you don't like. So it's not that I'm like, I'm mad that people fucking whatever have an opinion. It's just more that for me as a person trying to do stuff, creatively, like I don't find that that's super helpful. I mean, I like getting feedback when people write, people like share stories. I one of the things I like about music forum things, and specifically on Reddit, is that the extent to which a lot of kind of question prompts that you might see on Twitter of like, what's your favorite day, whatever, like people are doing those a lot, but like a lot of times they're a little more specific, and people are actually giving good answers, and they're giving wide. I mean, some people just write, band name, album name, but some people give feedback, and it's interesting sometimes. Like, why did you connect with it, or like, why did you change your mind about it? And it's cool. Like it's cool. There's some bands that everyone's talking about, some band from New York called Geese, and I listened to them and I was like, yeah, it's not for me. Whatever though. Y'all like it. Cool. It kind of sounds like, I don't know, Tom Waits, Captain Beefheart, like a weird, there's another band called Black Midi that people like, the same thing. It's just not my thing. But, if I've had a chance to see them live, I might watch. Who cares? Like, and if I didn't like it, just walk out and fucking, vape and get on my phone or some shit. Who cares? Like, I was definitely like, no, you gotta have taste, that kind of person when I was in my early 20s. And like, I was just annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like have an opinion and have a critical opinion and like be a hater when appropriate, but you have to have an open mind. And also like, this is a thing that I think you see a lot in like hardcore fan culture. You see a lot in, I think I was this way when I was young, and I think social media has amplified this, is that like feeling as though you're being left out of something because you don't like a thing other people are liking can tempt you into trying to make an argument that those people are somehow deficient for liking a thing you don't like. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, oh, there is no such thing as taste, but it's like, but it's gonna happen that you're gonna connect with something others don't, or vice versa. And I think the thing is that like always turning it into a moral argument or like some kind of ethical or like a grand aesthetic argument, it's pretty boring. Like I don't really like, there's a lot of, kind of intense genre fiction stuff I'm not really into. I don't give a shit if people like it. I mean, I've periodically looked at some of the stuff, and it tends to be, the mass market stuff tends to be at least pretty tightly written. Like it's not for me. It's not what I read for, but it's, whatever. If people like it, cool.
I have come to that conclusion in my old age because I now have a 10-year-old daughter who has her own opinions and has her own musical tastes. And there's a YouTuber that she was really into that played Minecraft called Aframau. And some of you listening probably know, but those of you who don't, it's a group, it's the people who play Minecraft, group of friends, they're all funny, they make jokes, but one of them sounds like, Kristen Shaw, how she sounds like. She's got that, you'll look her up, you'll see her face and be like, oh yeah, I know the voice that comes out of her. Kristen Shaw, she's a comedian, she's been in a lot of things. She's got a very nasally, very specific voice. And that's what this person sounds like. Now, I don't mind it out of Kristen Shaw because Kristen Shaw is always kind of a supporting character and she's not the main person talking, so it doesn't dig into my brain as much. And I find her very funny. And I've loved everything that I've seen her in, but this one just digs into my brain. And I have told my daughters, like, I don't like it. She's like, do you want to watch this with me? I'm like, I don't like that one. And she's just like, well, is it this? Is it that? Do you not? It's just like, I just don't like it. And I keep telling her, like, it's fine. It's fine if I don't like it. You can like it, and that is okay. I'm not telling you that it's good or bad. These people make a shitload of money playing Minecraft, so they're obviously doing something better than I am here, so I'm not going to tell them that they're doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. At the same time, kid, I don't want to listen to pokey raps with you. I don't want to do that, but if you want to listen to it, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to tell you not to, and I'm not going to be like, my kid listens to bad music, because I know the music that I listened to back then, and it was not that much better. So
I'll tell you a story. I feel like I may have told this on the show before, but you know what? I was less advanced as a parent when this happened, and I'll tell you again. So when we still lived in London, we had some friends who were an American family who were living in Buckinghamshire, and they came down to London to go to this exercise class, and they asked if we could watch their son while they were there. Basically, they were going to go to this class, and then they were staying in a hotel. So we watched their 7-year-old son, and then I took him on the bus to his parents' hotel so they could meet up after the thing. And so I spent 6-7 hours with a 7-year-old. So we had frozen pizza that she liked, and we talked about Roblox, and we talked about music, and he played me all the Roblox songs he likes, because there's like all these artists making Roblox songs. And we were talking about music, and he's like, well, can you do these? And I was like, I don't know them, but play them for me. And so we took the iPad into the room where I had the piano set up and put the speaker on, and he'd play a song, and I'd figure out the chords, and I'd play along with it. I'm like, yeah, this is what they're doing. And they're all competently produced. I mean, you can see why they sound like, I mean, for lack of a better word, they kind of sound like Disney Channel music, but like they sound competent. They're done by people who know how to produce, and like the songs are quite basic in structure. And I think the kind of marketing hook is that a new Roblox level comes out and they write songs about Roblox stuff. But he was like, this little boy was like, oh, this, like, eyes wide at the fact, like, wait, how do you figure this out? I'm like, well, it's like you start out with piano stuff and music, and it kind of seems like, why am I learning this? But you don't have to get that far into it before like you start to figure out some of these things. And it's like, these are all, I mean, basically every song was like 3 major chords and a minor chord. And it's like, I would listen by ear, and I'd play on the piano along. I don't have perfect pitch, but I've got pretty good pitch. And I'd listen, and I'd be like, okay, I think it's this, I mean, this and this. And like within a couple of iterations, we'd figure it out. And like, if there was an A, B, C part in the song, we'd figure those out and we'd play them along. And I'm like, obviously I'm not going to learn the words, but like, play the song. Like, I think I figured it out. And it was like a competition, like a game that we were playing. He's like, all right, do you think you can play the whole song? I'm like, yeah, I think I can. And we'd go through it, and he was really into it. And like, do I care about Roblox? No, I don't. But like, What am I going to be like? Hey, 7-year-old who's a really nice kid, but like, is 7. Like, let's listen to Talking Heads. Like, fuck no, come on. So like, we listened to Roblox, and it was cool. And like, that's what I hope to do when my daughter gets older. Like, that you connect with kids on their level, and you're like, oh, I'm interested in what you're interested in. Like, if my kid has taste like I had when I was a kid, then like by the time she gets to be like 11 or 12, she might like a lot of pop punk. And someone told me something once that I was like, man, my parents definitely did not do this, but I would love to have done, or I will love to do if I have the chance. It's like I was like, yeah, when I was a young teenager, like my mom, saw I was getting into music. And so if I liked an album, I would tell her what I liked, what songs I liked and why. And she would listen to the whole album when she had time, and she'd come back to me and talk, like give me her opinion back. And we would just do this. And he's like, she didn't really like any of it, but she liked it. She knew that I cared and I was connecting with it. And so like, it was important to her to sort of figure out like what about it was connecting with me and why I can. And he's like, it really meant a lot to me that like, it was, my opinion was kind of like being taken seriously. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, you're 13 in the 90s and your mom's like, sure, I'll listen to Pearl Jam's 10 or whatever. Like that would not have happened at my house. But it was kind of cool though. That's like a thing I want to do. And, taste is relative. And like, I like a lot of stuff that would be considered like pretty out there and pretentious, but I also like a lot of stuff either through nostalgia or just random encounters that's pretty like mass market too when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I like some of like the depths of like Scandinavian pop music. Genuinely, like Annie's Animal, or like the first Ace of Base album, which came out when I was a kid, or like, I mean, Robin's in a different fucking category, but like Robin, I loved Junior Senior, like things like that. And I also don't mind stuff that's not in English. So I find that it can be fun to talk to people about what they like, but like, I'm more interested in why someone likes something that they like than I am in why they dislike something. Mm-hmm. But I'm still willing to listen if they dislike something. I certainly dislike a lot of things and, I can explain, but I'm not interested in people just being like, I hate this, it's bad, or this sucks, or anyone who listens to this is an idiot. It's like,
you can be a disliker, but don't be a hater, Don't, and there's the term "don't yuck somebody's yum," which I don't really like saying. I don't
like that concept because I think it's fine. It's just more like, it's like, but you can do it, but sometimes is it worth it to like go out of your way to tell people they're wrong?
Yeah.
But also I think the idea of using that expression out loud makes me feel like I've like transcended some kind of moral boundary I didn't know existed. Like you can tell my hesitation and discomfort with even being obligated to think of saying it out loud.
As a former Catholic, I hate saying it and I don't know why, but I can't just, it's just.
What if I want to yum your yuck though? What if I want to go backwards, huh?
Yeah, you can come yum my yuck anytime.
Right, Yum Yuckers sounds like a terrible comedy album from the 90s. I feel as though it's a thing where it's a question of like venue. Like at this point in my life, I still feel perhaps a little bit of not doubt, but hesitation. But like, for lack of a better word here, like there's no real way to fucking deny, like I'm a musician now, which is cool. Mm-hmm. I'm not the world's most proficient musician. I'm not like classically trained to any great degree. My sight reading is quite elementary, although I can do it, but I am a musician, which is cool. I never thought I would be. When I'm talking to other musicians, when I'm talking to people to collaborate with, when I'm talking about taste, there are certain things where it's like, we're going to be pretty straightforward. But like, I was hanging out when we produced this record and I'm going to, when we're recording it and we're going to go and mix it soon with someone who like, I've been a huge fan of their work for over 20 years. And like, we were talking about stuff that's quite niche and out there and like not well known, as well as like, I don't know, Mariah Carey. Yeah. Like we like... It's like, if you like music, find music you like. And like, the cool thing is, I feel like as you get older with any entertainment, with any art, is that you can like both. You can like lots of stuff. There's a lot of shit I don't like. I think the kind of cozy core stuff is actually kind of a little bit uncomfortable. Like I see some of these things and it's like, that's not for me. But that's not for me is not, that's bad. It's just not for me. Mm-hmm. And also like, I guess the thing I'll end and pass the baton to you, because, I talk in these fucking machine gun bursts. I'll tell you a story. You ever heard of a band called Architecture in Helsinki?
No.
Didn't think you would. If you were reading Pitchfork in the 2000s, you would have heard of Architecture in Helsinki. They're a band from Melbourne, Australia. At their peak, they had like 9 members. They were kind of like, the best way I could describe it is really sort of like fun, sugary, kind of like almost a bit childish, like pop with some synthesizers. It was very much like bubblegummy pop music, but made by like not quite hippies, but people who definitely like, know the nearest vegan restaurant to them. Mm-hmm. They were definitely like kind of a scene darling of Melbourne, and Pitchfork gave their first, it was their second album, but their first like larger label release, not just tiny Australia label release, an album called In Case We Die, like a 9.2 6 or something. So like it was one of those 2000s like career maker reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. It felt like goofy, precious art school shit trying to be like cutesy and childish. It felt like the same kind of thing that made me not like the movie Garden State or the movie Juno, or some of the just kind of like, isn't this so wacky kind of like twee kind of kitschy stuff that was definitely like the sort of all indie dudes in the early 2000s dreamed of a chick who looked and talked like Betty Boop for some reason, like that kind of vibe. I didn't like it at all.
And you brought up Garden State, and like that's such a movie that's stuck in my head that I've watched like so many times. And I hate that movie so much. I hate that movie.
It's bad.
It's so
bad. I saw
bad.
it in theaters, and I was just sort of like, okay, is that supposed to be deep? Like I'm 19, but even I can tell it's not that deep.
Right. Like, oh, the manic pixie dream girl who also like has to wear a helmet because she has brain injuries. But also I'm Zach Braff who drilled a hole in my head. I don't know what. Like both of them are just broken as hell in the brain. And I'm
Time for us to visit this trash dump because it's so symbolic of something. I can't remember.
And I'm listening to the Shins. I'm just like, man, American Beauty at least pulled this off. You know, they pulled this shit off without
American Beauty.
So
at least had a scene of, I mean, fuck him as he's a horrible person, but at least had a scene of Kevin Spacey looking like a badass while the Guess Who's American Woman is playing, and everyone's like, yes, I want to quit my job and smoke weed and get fucking jacked. This is cool. You had that. Mm-hmm. You had that. The Shins weren't bad. The Shins had a couple of songs that I genuinely liked, especially off their second album. But the degree of like adulation for the Shins, I feel like it's not like people have to like repent for it, but I think it's been borne out by the Shins' career, like that they've done stuff and some of it's been good, but it's not, I don't know, like some of the bands that were so highly lauded back then have gone on to do more. Even if I don't like it, they have had careers. Whereas like, I don't know, the Shins, it's just a thing that, I mean, I liked one or two songs off that first record. I bought the second record and actually really enjoyed it. But looking back on it now, early 2000s heads know exactly where this is going. So Says I is the only song by them I can listen to now that actually like, this is a good song. The rest I'm just like, oh yeah, I was listening to this in 2003. You know, when I had one of the iPods with the really pixelated screen that had the little like shoot down the helicopters games. And I used to make the joke like, oh, cool, it's the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And that never came back to haunt me. Nobody ever fucking owned me on that one.
Oh, you think you're funny, huh? You think you're funny about joking about invading Afghanistan? Guess what, bitch?
Guess what, bitch? Yeah, exactly. So what I'm trying to say though is, so the Architecture in Helsinki album, I hated it, and like I was annoyed that people liked it, and of course I was, you know, liberal arts school, and like I was dating someone at the time who was an art student, heard it all the time, hated it. I hated the existence of it. I was like, fuck you. This shit sucks. I hate it so much. I cannot believe you guys listen to music that's this annoying. Flash forward about 10 years later, well, 8 years later, listening to Sirius XM, and I hear a song I like a lot. It's like a pop song for sure, but it's like fun, kind of in that early 2010s, late 2000s, not quite stomp, stomp, clap music, but like it's a good song. And I'm like, Jesus, who is this? I look it up. It's a song called SKP by Architecture in Helsinki. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? First of all, this doesn't sound like them. And secondly, okay. So I go and get this third album. It's very different. Very, very different. It's like 80s FM radio pop, but it has a couple of songs that are genuinely really, really good, like genuinely really good. And I was like, wait, are they good now? Well, that album's got a couple of songs I actually still like to this day. An album came out literally the next year. Their last record, not very good, but it has a song on it called I Might Survive, which is great. It's a genuinely great song, kind of like a swan song for them, I guess, because they never put anything else out. And then years later, I listened to their second album, second major release album, an album called Places Like This, which is in some ways more annoying than the album that came out when I was in school that I hated. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. There's only one song that I think is like really, truly mediocre. The guy's voice is so annoying at times that you just have to accept. If that annoys you, it's never going to work, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
It's like listening to Rancid. I gotcha.
Yeah.
You got to be okay. Tim Armstrong just sounds like that. He starts
doing this like psychotic falsetto in some of these songs. It's just like, why are you, like, you have a song that sounds so good. It kind of sounds like people would think it's a Talking Heads song from like the peak of their career. And then you start talking like, oh, you start doing Mickey Mouse voice. Wow. You're like, why? Why, man? Self-sabotage? I don't know. But all I can say is I love that record. Basically, like he made a really, really, really bitter, angry breakup record with a lot more analog synthesizers on it. And it just works for me. Mm-hmm. And so here am I, man who is like, if you like Architecture in Helsinki, you should literally be fired into the sun. You have no taste and you are dumb. And I'm 20 years old and have a lot of unresolved self-image issues. And I'm a huge bastard. And then I'm 30 and I'm like, actually, they were good. Wait, they were actually, I mean, like, okay, it's a style thing maybe, but like they were. So if I I'm going to talk to you and be like, hi, I'm Nate, and I have some thoughts on, the way life is lived today. Well, surely I have to acknowledge, like, I was so fucking wrong by my own aesthetic judgment that I should have just shut up in the first place. Who cares?
Yeah. Telling a 20-year-old male to shut the fuck up, though, is just not going to work. Like, that's just going to make them have louder and dumber opinions.
You're right. And I think the answer instead is to be like, well, what do you like and why?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, like, seems like you're kind of mad at the fact that people disagree with you, but like, this is like a tiny, this is like one fucking pixel line on the barcode of the entirety of like, even just people who speak the same language as you, like artistic opinions about creative work. And you're like, no, I am so fucking mad that this tiny little sliver is not exactly the same as me. It's like,
mm-hmm. I had the same thing, growing up and being one of the people who hated Nickelback, just in the late 90s, early aughts.
They're bad, but like Cynthia's seen them live at a festival. She's like, they're actually really good performers.
And yeah, when I hear a Nickelback song now, I'm just like, I'm no more annoyed by this song than I am any other song that I was just, it's not offensive to me. I can tune it out. I'm not my brain is not musically centered. Like I listen to music, sure, but I don't. And I can sing. I've taken music classes. Just, not a thing that hooked me. So I know that, I would defer to you more for musical opinions. But of course, I can have my own opinions about music. And as we said, as you get older, hating there's just so much energy in hating something.
Yeah, there
and
is.
You never come out the other end being like, I feel good about that. I feel good telling that person that Nickelback sucks. And look, I still think most of Nickelback does suck. That's fine. They're, again, they're doing something. They're out there. They're making their money. And it's honestly very simple for me to avoid Nickelback. Like, it's not, they're not walking around here blasting their music at me. So fuck it.
I would say that, being a kid and being in environments like the school bus, if the radio is on, or places where you hear it a lot, or like back in the day before the internet gave you, sort of infinity selections where it was like dependent on what was being played on the radio or MTV, I think it was easier to get more annoyed by something that you didn't connect with. I think for me, I think that there's a point of having taste, and it's useful to point out, like, one of the things that I think being a hater is really useful for is not necessarily having a vendetta against a specific person or a specific style, but pointing out the laziness of comparisons, the laziness of like other critiques. And it doesn't even need to be hating on other critics. I think it's just more like people will jump to conclusions about stuff without really engaging with it. And I think that, to me, for example, I think it's fair to look back at some of like the bands that got like the really, really high critical praise in the 2000s and say, some of it really does hold up. And some of it is really just kind of like a level of intentional difficulty of the era that like, but it seemed cool. And some of the critiques were just like kind of thinly veiled, like personal beefs. But at the end of the day, I think that there's quite a bit of times where like I laughed at Pitchfork's dumb bullshit. There's also some things that were like pretty harsh opinions of theirs that were actually pretty accurate in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I think the best thing I would say is like, okay, I don't like Muse. I just don't. Okay. My brother likes Muse or liked Muse. I don't like Muse. I will never like a Muse song. I don't really think like I've seen people praising the band Placebo. I actually like a lot of Placebo songs.
I do, yeah.
Brian Molko writes some of the worst lyrics that anyone on this fucking planet has ever written, and he's insistent that they have to rhyme in addition to being bad. Brian Molko once wrote a line, "I'm obscene, a libertine, and every time you vent your spleen." And it's like, bro, is this a joke? Is this a novelty parody poetry contest?
It sounds good when he sings it, though. He's got a voice, though. Like, I will say it, Placebo, I agree with you. The lyrics are so fucking stupid.
But then it's like, Come Home is a fucking great song, and it has decent lyrics.
And when I listen to his voice, there's something that just like, oh, I love it. It digs into my brain. I do love a friend in need. It's a friend indeed. A friend with weed is better.
Do you know what's so funny about Pure Morning?
What's that?
So I'm pretty sure, I can't remember this if it was Every You, Every Me, but they were putting out a single for the first single for Without You, I'm Nothing, the record that's on their second album. And they were putting out another single from their self-titled album. I can't remember, about that time. And they needed a B-side for that one of the singles. And they had like a day in the studio, and a day in the studio can pass really fucking fast. Mm-hmm. And they have, guitarist, bassist, and keyboard and drummer. They wrote Pure Morning, and Brian Molko wrote the lyrics in like 6 hours max, recorded them. They sent it off like, B-side done. Sent it off to get mixed and mastered, we're done. And the label was like, hold up, what the fuck? This is such a good song. This has to be the single. And they're like, oh, we're going to swap the A-side and B-side. But like, they're like, well, yeah, but that was just kind of a throwaway. They're like, yeah, but this song is insane. This is going to be a hit. You have to. So they did. The problem was lyrics did not change.
No.
And in those days, I presume, with production times and stuff, they just simply didn't have the ability to go in and rewrite the lyrics. I've heard they basically never play it live because they are all embarrassed by how fucking bad those lyrics are. But the song whips so much ass, and the processing on the drums is so cool. It's such a cool song. The first time I heard that song was on like the local like fucking high school radio station that had like an automated DJ in the summer, and like it just got like they had like whatever their distributor was to get like CD singles gave them cool shit, like that song, White Town's Your Woman, Six Underground by the Sneaker Pimps. Like I was actually hearing those on like my local station, and I remember hearing them be like, who on earth is this band? This is so cool. That song is awesome, but the lyrics are fucking terrible. And his lyrics aren't good. And it's like, brother, listen, you wrote some of the lyrics are good as a thing. Some of them are great, but a lot of them are really bad. Yeah. And I feel like it's the same with one of my all-time favorite bands, New Order. Certainly the early era of New Order stuff, like hugely instrumental. Like the reason Saf and I are working together is we bonded over the fact that we liked early New Order so much. But like Bernard Sumner can't sing, and he really can't fucking write lyrics, dude. Like even later on when he got better at singing, I'm sorry, one of their biggest hit songs that came out in 2001 when they'd been fucking making music as a band for 21 years, the chorus lyrics are, "Here comes love. It's like honey. You can't buy it with money."
But I can buy honey with money.
Well, apparently love can't be bought with money.
Oh, like
it is like honey, but you can't buy love with money. And the honey comparison is actually unrelated to the subsequent strophe here about whether or not it can be purchased. Like, I'm sorry. And it's such a fucking good song. The song Crystal, it's so good. But like, fuck me, he writes bad lyrics. Yeah. So like, it's not, I don't know, like if you want, like a lot of people connect, there's some New Order lyrics that I love. I mean, straight up, there's some New Order lyrics that are like genuinely like This Time of Night has incredible lyrics. Like, I don't know, but song that became famous later on because it was used in a Sofia Coppola movie, but also has always been good. Age of Consent from Power, Corruption, and Lies. Of course, I'm not the one who likes to talk. I'm not the kind who likes to tell you just what I hope to do. You're not the kind who needs to tell me about the birds and the bees. I'm sorry, man. What the fuck kind of lyrics? What the fuck are you talking about? You see what I mean? But like, I love that band, but like, that's a bit of a weak point for them. Some people aren't bothered. I'm not bothered enough to not like them, but I'm not going to go hell for leather and be like, no, man, actually, those were the deepest lyrics that anyone has ever written. And actually, like, you're a morally deficient person if you don't think that Barney Sumner fucked up on every drug that you could buy in England, wrote the best lyrics any human has ever put to paper. Like, no, he didn't. Yeah. Sorry. They named Everything's Gone Green after the fact that light looked green through the window after they'd smoked a bunch of weed and been working in the studio all night. Like, that's
that's the purpose of music, is to talk about shit like that. When I had Max from Eve 6 on a couple years back, and you know, the big
I was
Eve
sad
6
to miss that, but we had a family emergency.
Yeah, but the big the big Eve 6 song is Inside Out, yes. And, you know, you specifically ask him, like, what the fuck are these lyrics? And he's like, I was a 19-year-old that was drinking cough syrup. That's what it was. But
I mean, more than that,
slaps.
He wrote that song. Like, they were together as a band since they were 14. Like, some of those songs on that first record, he wrote when he was, like, barely in high school.
Right.
And it's like, it's not like the Replacements where Tommy Stinson was, like, 13 when their first album came out. Like, the rest of the Replacements were, like, in their late teens, early 20s. No, but, like, Eve 6, everyone was, like, they were basically 14, 15 when they got scouted.
This reminds me because, like, my daughter is very intelligent and, like, emotionally intelligent and very verbally intelligent and can say a lot of great things, and she has a lot of great talents, but sometimes just like because she's 10, because her brain is not fully formed, you know, weird shit comes out of her mouth. And what if you put that to music? And then you have Putting Your Heart in a Blender, which to me, when I was 17, hearing that was deep as shit, because I had a high school girlfriend who did put my heart in a blender. But
also at the end, when he changes the vocal melody, if I don't think it's a key change, but it might be. I don't have it in front of me. And it goes up and it's like effectively harmonizing with the way he sang it in the other choruses. It's insane. You want to rock the fuck out. Like, that song builds up huge. It's so good. Yeah. And it's got like that, like, Rob Cavallo special. I don't think Rob Cavallo produced it, but like the Green Day guitar sound in there too, of just like ultra compressed guitars. Like, it's cool. Yeah. It's fucking cool, man.
And, you know, you were talking about how you like listening to music in other languages. I listen, you know, I watch a lot of anime, and, you know, a lot of music comes from there, and it's in Japanese, and it's in Korean, you know, if I'm watching Korean stuff. And that's fine because, like, again, I don't care about the lyrics. You know, the opening theme to the Chainsaw Man anime, fucking slaps. No idea what they're saying, but I rock out to it. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're putting your heart in a blender. I don't care if, you can buy the love with honey or money or not. If it slaps, it slaps. And that's all I'm here for.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do connect with lyrics a lot. Lyrics can make a song for me often, but like it can't be so bad musically that like it's annoying me. But lyrics can make a song for me. So I am definitely a lyrics person. Mm-hmm. And I would say that bad lyrics don't end a song for me, but I can't ignore those either. But I mean, here's the thing with Eve 6, right? Like I was 14 the first time I heard that record. Mm-hmm. It's by 14-year-olds for 14-year-olds, okay? Like that, yes, they were 19 when the album came out, but they wrote it when they were, like, I literally was in a band, like playing, dude, the first time I heard How Much Longer, the first track on that record, and there's like a fucking breakdown with like doing very basic bass walk shit. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. Every song I ever write is going to have a bass walk like this in it. Like I connected with it. And it's like, yeah, I was so excited when their second album came out, and it's really not good. But I mean, shouts out to Max. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I think he would admit this, that like there are some lyrics that, probably haven't aged well. And like you said, 19-year-old on cough syrup. The chorus of Rescue, which is still a fun song, although it sounds extremely like 2000 Pro Tools as fuck. The chorus of that song, if I'm not mistaken, is like Jessica Rabbit, she collects bad habits, gets her drinks for free. Animated vixen stole Cupid's arrow and came to rescue me. In a blink of an eyelid, my lid opened up and I could see that she'd come to rescue me. But here's the thing. Why do I know all those? Because I was 15 the first time I heard it. I'm like, this fucking rules. I love this shit. I downloaded it on my uncle's ISDN line because it was faster than our home shit on Napster in 2000. I was so excited. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Max. I did pirate that album. I eventually bought it though. Like, yeah. Because you're going to connect with stuff differently when you get older, like whatever.
Well, one of these episodes, we're going to get really deep into my my Fish and Pink Floyd period, because Fish has some stupid fucking lyrics. Every and I know like the album that I got really into was Farmhouse from 1990, and there's the Farmhouse, the title album on that. I know every word to that, and none of them make sense. There is what is a cluster fly? Shut the fuck up, Trey. Just noodle on the guitar for 5 hours.
Weirdly,
right?
There's only one Fish song I like. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It's Down with Disease. Okay, that was actually a really fun song. That came out when I was like 10. I still enjoy it. I was thinking you were bringing this up about, bands from that era. And I mean, there's definitely some stuff that in retrospect seems pretty goofy, but I mean, you talked about Pink Floyd. I don't know. I got Dark Side of the Moon for Christmas when I was 15, and like that's the perfect age to get that fucking album. And man, like,
you turn 15, you should get Dark Side of the Moon. You get The Doors, and when you turn 17, you can get The Wall. So you can grow up a little bit and you can listen to The Wall.
When I was 17 and like 2 weeks old, an album that was supposed to come out when I was 16 and like 50 weeks old, but was delayed because of 9/11 came out, called Is This It by The Strokes. And I was the perfect fucking age for that. And like, I still like that record, but I mean, you're going to relate to stuff differently, and that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I just like music, honestly. Yeah. I like music. I like books. I like reading a lot too. I like literature quite a bit too. And like, I'll try stuff that's challenging if it's like, if I can connect with it. But I guess for me, it's, I don't know, is the best album of the year 2000 Kid A by Radiohead? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really gone through like obsess about like stuff that came out. I don't think it's the one that I connected with the most. I definitely didn't connect with it when it first came out, and I bought it the day it came out. But you know what I do play all the fucking time? Breathless by The Corrs. And that came out in 2000 because it's a good fucking song. And so it's like, takes all kinds, man. Shit. I mean, whatever. Like, you talk to people who are only into hardcore and they're like, no, the best album of 2000 is this record by this insane label from Boston that like, just every single one of these guys has gone to jail for Percocet. Like, it's whatever. Like you talk to like noise rock, or you talk to like hard metal people, and it's like a completely hermetically sealed universe. But that's fine. Yeah. If you're into it, be into it. I don't give a damn. Like, I'm happy for you, like genuinely. And if something's cool and I like it, I mean, you talk about Japanese music, dude. Like, I don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese at all. I used to aim chat my brother to translate Pillow songs lyrics because I liked the songs. And I was like, are these good lyrics? Like, I connected with it. Like fucking the song Swanky Street's so cool. I love that song. The song, I'll forget the name, so I don't even want to go off it. But Carnival, badass. So you know what? Like stuff. You don't got to like everything. If you don't like stuff, that's cool. Sometimes it's just not necessary to like be strident. Mm-hmm. And I'll leave you on this because I know, Francis, you got to go, and we have to wrap up. One time, not long into we'll call it about 07, Facebook briefly, allowed you to click on the blue links on when you hosted interests, like whatever band stuff you liked, and you would bring up discussion pages like a kind of like MySpace / Reddit concept. Probably would have worked for Facebook, but they got rid of it. Maybe it's the same now. I don't know. But it was like a message board. It was like a forum. That didn't last long. And one time I clicked on the band Boris, the Japanese kind of like doom metal, drone metal band. Mm-hmm. And it was people with what I can only describe the most reprehensible and just generally unpleasant looking avatar pictures of their real faces being very, very angry about people not recognizing that this was the actual Boris and not another band called Boris, and they were using a lot of mental health slurs. And I was like, don't be that guy. Yeah. Don't be that guy. Don't be like that.
Don't be that guy, everybody. Don't hate.
You can hate all you want. You just got to hate smart. Yeah. And you got to be an ecumenical hater, an open-minded, even-handed hater. Because I'm a hater. Don't get me wrong. I am a capital H hater, but I hate tactically.
Yeah. Don't hate in a way that is detrimental to your own mental health.
Jesus.
Hate in a healthy way. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Nate, as always, thank you. Always love talking music with you. We gotta do this more with Jack, because Jack knows way more about music than I do. But we have a Patreon, patreon.com/hellofaWayToDie. We have a store, whatahellofawaytodad.com. We have all kinds of things, ways for you to get in contact with us. We have a Discord that we share with Lions Led by Donkeys that you can get access to by joining the Patreon as well. So if then any of that sounds interesting to you, please sign up. Let us know. The Patreon, I give away things every month to people who have signed up. So even if this right here, us talking about Reddit and music, Jesus, we did cover a lot of topics today. You can get some free stuff. So there's always a reason to join. Nate, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Have a good one.